I'm Talia Ricci. Tonight, the Toronto Blue Jays have cut ties with pitcher Anthony Bass.
Definitely, when I saw the comments yesterday, I was hurt.
It's the latest development in a controversy that began last week when Bass shared a social media post supporting anti-LGBTQ boycotts. Plus,
at least for now, we get some relief.
Air quality in Toronto is back to normal levels after spiking earlier in the week. We'll break down what you need to know before you head outdoors this weekend. And
I don't know why they call it riding, because it is driving.
Business owners and a councillor in Oshawa are calling on the city to reconsider an electric scooter project, citing safety concerns. The Toronto Blue Jays have reassigned Anthony Bass from the team. The decision coming just hours before the relief pitcher was scheduled to catch the first ceremonial pitch, kicking off the team's Pride weekend. Patrick Swadden has the latest.
Blue Jays Pride weekend kicks off tonight, the team's chance to celebrate and stand with the LGBTQ community. But they'll be celebrating without relief pitcher Anthony Bass. This afternoon, the Jays announcing Bass was designated for assignment, meaning he's no longer part of the team, 11 days after he shared an anti-LGBTQ social media post.
Like anything, there are times that things get momentum and become a distraction in our clubhouse, and that was a variable.
General Manager Ross Atkins also said it was a baseball decision, an attempt to make the team better. Blue Jays manager John Schneider echoing that sentiment.
I mean, it's a small part of it, I think, just because of the, like Ross said, I think there's different variables. It's, distraction, yeah, part of it, but I think, we're always trying to make our team better.
Bass had apologized for his actions last week.
I'm truly sorry for that. The ballpark is for everybody.
But Blue Jays fans were not accepting that apology. And many fans have been upset with how the Jays have handled the fallout, including the decision to have Bass catch the ceremonial first pitch from LGBTQ advocate Leslie Lee Kum, after yesterday reiterating he still holds those beliefs reflected in the post.
The video itself, obviously I took it down. I just felt like it was too much of a distraction, right? But I stand by my personal beliefs, and everyone's entitled to their personal beliefs, right?
Pride Toronto Exec Director Sherwin Modeste says he met with Bass earlier this week, and their meeting was productive, but was disappointed to hear Bass's comments yesterday.
When I saw the comments yesterday, I was hurt. I was hurt because I felt that, we've come so far, and how one word can really continue to do damage.
Modeste says now the Jays can truly focus on its relationship with the LGBTQ community, beginning this weekend.
That cloud is going to be gone. It's going to be a ray of light. But at the end of the day, the work continues.
Patrick Swadden, CBC News, Toronto.
The air quality in Toronto and the GTA has returned to normal levels after surging earlier in the week. While we're breathing a little easier here, the wildfires continue in Quebec and northeastern Ontario. And as Ali Chiasson reports, the smoke may have cleared, but we're not out of the woods yet.
Today, we are at a 3 on the Air Quality Health Index. That's a measurement of the pollution in the air. And in urban areas, a 3 is pretty average. But just 2 days ago, it got as high as 10 in some areas outside of the city.
At least for now, we get some relief. But as long as the fires are burning, there is a chance that the smoke can come back.
This means you should be able to comfortably resume to your normal outdoor activities. Due West Fest will still be a go, but just because the smoke has mostly cleared from our airspace doesn't mean others aren't still struggling.
When it comes to air quality, poor air quality, we've seen this especially for northern communities, remote communities, specifically a lot of Indigenous communities affected by smoke because of forest fires every year. It's just that the smoke didn't in the past make its way down to where the population centers are.
And that means it's all the more important to understand what we've been breathing in.
There's some evidence that the particulate matter from wildfire is a little different from the particulate matter from other pollution sources.
Arthur Chan is an associate professor of environmental chemistry at U of T.
We're collecting samples to learn more about their composition. And so once these fires pass and our air gets clear again, it would be useful to remind people that we should continue on our efforts to limit climate change.
A little more fire smoke is going to be in the air pretty well every summer. Sometimes it's tiny. We don't notice it. We don't have, all this attention drawn to it.
But since the Canada fires have garnered international attention and made global impact,
we should extend that to some conversations about what were the causes, what we're doing about it, because our children know that there is a looming issue ahead in climate change, and it's up to us now to keep the conversation going.
And I hesitate to call this the new normal, because we could still do something about climate change.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
There's a live look at the city skyline. Cloudy this evening with a chance of showers, sitting at around 18 degrees. Colette has a first look at the forecast. Colette, the air noticeably clearer today.
Yeah, that's right, Talia. It's nice to not be starting the segment off with an air quality statement or how our air quality index is doing, because we've been able to breathe a little bit easier. So some of that cloud deck today and those showers kind of helped with things, and we're going to get more help as we go into the weekend. More on that coming up. Just checking out the daytime highs. Boy, we barely got there, but 21 degrees for Toronto and Oshawa. A little milder there, southwestern Ontario, 25 in Windsor, and you see some of the teens kind of closer to the center of that system where there was even more shower activity there in eastern Ontario, so a bit cooler. Now, through Saturday, we're going to see some clearing, continuing to see some clearing overnight tonight. And so for tomorrow, it's a nice setup. Sunshine, and then into the afternoon, a bit more cloud building in, so it becomes sort of variable. I do just want you to know, into Saturday evening, I don't want you to be caught off guard. A chance for some isolated showers, and then it's more organized what comes in as we go into Sunday and Monday. I'll have more on that coming up too. Your low tonight, 12 degrees, and look at this, a very comfortable 25 for the high tomorrow, I tell you.
Love that. Thanks, Colette. Well, there's just over 2 weeks until voting day in Toronto. Municipal elections normally have low voter turnout. So the key for many of the campaigns will be motivating their supporters to go to the polls. But it's not just the candidates working to encourage people to vote. Clara Pasica explains.
The barbecues were fired up and the music played in the York Southwestern ward this afternoon. But it's not just any community barbecue. With advance polls open until June 13th, this barbecue is for democracy.
Where we are right now has some of the highest rates of poverty anywhere in the country. It also has some of the lowest concentration of services to address that poverty. And it happens to have one of the lowest rates of voter turnout. So we think all those things are related, and that's why we're spending some time today to bring people together to make sure those voices are heard.
Recognizing that some attendees might never have had the chance to vote before, over here we have some materials so that people can learn more about how to vote, and even some practice ballots about the issues that matter most to you. Attendees we spoke to say the event has them thinking about the big issues for them and is encouraging many to head to the ballot box.
It's so important that everybody speaks, joins hands, become a team, and work harder for this cause.
I think it's awesome. It brings the people out here just to come and enjoy some food, and it encourages them to also vote. So.
I think it's a great event. It's a community event. Lots of people coming out today, people that are interested in voting and affecting change.
It's the rent. Rent is kind of breaks my heart to see the homeless situation and see the rent costs. It just doesn't feel Canadian to me.
They need to wake up. The government needs to really wake up and say, whoa, okay, now we understand what people are saying by it's costing too much for groceries and everything.
Those who work for food banks say engagement at events just like this are giving them hope this election could be different.
I'm really hoping that we will see that high voter turnout around amongst those who have been continuously marginalized. When we surveyed food bank clients, 95% indicated that they were planning to vote. And so we want to make sure that those individuals are able to make it out there.
At this York Southwestern event, organizers were not just spreading the word an important election was underway, they were getting out the vote today. The pinnacle of today's event, a walk to an advance poll together, making casting your ballot today a uniquely social occasion here. Clara Pasica, CBC News, Toronto.
A Toronto school is celebrating the unveiling of its new name. Queen Victoria Public School has now been named Dr. Rita Cox Kena-Minoga Public School.
I'm proud that I am part of this Parkdale story. That's a very significant one, to be part of this. I spent my whole 20-something years right here. My church is here, my community is here.
The decision to rename the school was made last year after community consultation. The school says the move honors both the Toronto librarian and Order of Canada recipient Dr. Rita Cox, while addressing colonialism. Cox worked at the Parkdale branch of the Toronto Public Library for decades until 1995 and launched literacy and multiculturalism programs in the city. The Indigenous portion of the name, Kena-Minoga, means all things grow well together. Business owners and a councillor in Oshawa are calling on the city to pump the brakes on an electric scooter pilot project. They're citing concerns over safety due to what they're calling a lack of proper infrastructure. Meg Roberts has more.
We had no idea that these were coming.
So just filled up this entire...
Yeah, just completely blocking the sidewalk.
Eric Tam says since these electric scooters showed up outside his market on April 25th, there have been a slew of safety and accessibility concerns.
We really were left in the dark at the beginning about how the program was going to work, and we haven't really gotten any answers since.
He still has concerns regarding insurance liability because there are no charging stations. The scooters can be left all over, including private property.
That's like me going to another business and setting up a market on their front lawn and taking all the money that I make and leaving.
Most of all, he's frustrated with how the scooters left around limit accessibility. The Oshawa Market is located right across the road from a senior's home.
We've made the building 100% accessible to cater to that population. And obviously, the blocked areas are a big issue for them.
The City of Oshawa has partnered with Bird Canada and Neuron Mobility for 2 years after opting into the provincial government's new program that permits e-scooters. In Oshawa, scooters are not allowed to be driven on sidewalks. There's limited bike lanes so users get around on the road.
I don't know why they call it riding, because it is driving.
This councillor wants the city to temporarily suspend the program.
It makes sense that micromobility is an idea that a lot of people are in favor of. It gets the cars off the roads, reduces pollution, all good stuff, but the safety is the big issue right now.
This makeshift memorial is a sign of the safety risk. At the end of May, a 20-year-old died after being struck by a pickup truck while riding an e-scooter on a sidewalk in Oshawa.
Hopefully, at a certain point, the message will get through and we'll have that opportunity to hear more.
At Durham College, e-scooters litter the campus, and students say safety concerns are outweighed by the convenience.
You have to pay just little amount and you can travel whatever way you want.
Students say with a tap of a card they can hop on a scooter instead of waiting around for a bus. As the machine doesn't go faster than a bike, the student says he doesn't worry about his safety.
All the drivers are concerned about us. Whenever they see us, they just move away.
E-scooters are being tried out in municipalities across the country. Windsor has voted to allow Bird to continue operating after the pilot project finished. Meanwhile, Toronto has completely banned electric scooters. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Oshawa.
Some cracks are showing in Canada's labour market. After months of gains, the economy lost jobs in May, especially among youth. Nisha Patel reports.
For months, there's been no sign of a slowdown in Canada's labour market. But it lost some steam in May, shedding 17,000 jobs overall, pushing the unemployment rate up to 5.2%. Most of the job losses were among youth as companies pared back on seasonal hiring.
What we're hearing from a lot of students is just that they're not finding the work that is going to help them make the ends meet, not just for the summer, but for the year ahead as well.
These guys are in the bar here.
Still, many businesses like hotels and restaurants do have jobs available. Those employers say the country's intense labor shortage has started to ease.
So compared to last year, we're seeing a big difference. There's a big change. What we are noticing, we are seeing people come to the doors asking for work.
While it's just 1 month of weakness so far, this jobs report may be a signal that higher interest rates are having an impact as people spend less and businesses pull back on hiring.
Do you think that this is sort of the beginning of a trend?
I do think that we're going to see weaker employment growth as we go forward.
Though with more than 800,000 job openings across the country, Job seekers may still have the upper hand.
We're still, I would argue, in a relatively tight labor market with a relatively low unemployment rate.
These are all factors the Bank of Canada is watching closely.
It's not that we don't like kind of a labor market where there's jobs for anyone, it just mustn't be over excessive. And right now there's just a little bit too much.
That tight labor market is one reason the Bank of Canada hiked interest rates this week. Most experts say even with this softer jobs report, they expect another rate hike in July. Nisha Patel, CBC News.
The Toronto Holocaust Museum opened its doors to the public today. The provincial government announced a $500,000 investment for the museum as anti-Semitic attacks continue to rise.
As time passes and the atrocities of the Holocaust grow more distant, it's never been more important that history lives on.
The museum is located at the Prosserman Jewish Community Center. The goal is to share the stories of Holocaust survivors for generations to come. 220 hours of survivor testimony were captured on 11 touchscreens. Admission to the museum is free for survivors and those under 25. This Sunday marks the last day for the Queer Marketplace in the Distillery District. The event brought local artists and performers from the community to kick off Pride Month. Anam Khan takes us there.
Toronto's Distillery District has been extra vibrant lately. There's live music, unique merchandise, a mural celebrating beauty and joy, and the iconic red sculpture wrapped in rainbow colors. This is the first time the Distillery District joined forces with Pride Toronto.
The Distillery District has long been a champion of small business and, frankly, artists. And so when Pride Toronto pitched this concept of a queer marketplace, we thought this is a great opportunity to showcase queer vendors, showcasing amazing products, and having queer artists on our stage.
With the Pride Festival facing increasing security costs this year, the marketplace holds special meaning to vendors.
We still need visibility out there in the community. I mean, at the root of Pride is protest and fighting for human rights. And, human rights is all about visibility and showing people that we exist. And we're here and we're queer and we're not going anywhere.
The market was also an opportunity for vendors to showcase products that are hard to find.
It's hard to go out to stores and shop for Pride clothing that queer people want to wear during Pride Month, especially clothing made by queer people. So I'm lucky to be here to be able to sell my product to other people who are excited to wear it this month.
She just started this morning.
And customers were excited.
We bought some shirts to wear for Pride. So I got this little tank top that says queer on it. We got a bucket hat, some pins. I think it's nice that we know that this is coming from some queer creators and some queer businesses. So supporting them as part of getting the gear is really important too.
The marketplace runs from 3 to 9 this weekend and with live entertainment in the evenings. Anam Khan, CBC News, Toronto.
3 men have completed their 8-year mission to paddleboard across all the Great Lakes. They capped off the journey on Lake Ontario.
Starting here in Toronto, heading over to Niagara on the lake, or actually Fort Niagara, and turning around, and hopefully coming back and ending here 24 to 26 hours from right now.
Morris, along with Joe Lorenz and Jeff Guy, left the Humber Bay Park shores at 7 this morning. It's all for the nonprofit Stand Up for Great Lakes. Their goal this year is to raise $25,000. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Colette's back now with our extended forecast. It's feeling a little cooler out there the last couple of days.
Yes, Talia, I've been hearing from folks that it's a little bit cool for them. And yeah, we're a couple degrees below seasonal. It's not that cool, but hey, tomorrow we get to see things warming back up again. We also get to breathe some fresher air. Now, at times we could be closer, like tonight and into tomorrow, at times towards moderate and a little bit on the higher end of low in terms of our air quality, but still so much better. And it gets better still towards the second half of the weekend as those winds really change direction. So that's that's what's happening for us here. Seeing sunshine, but also that little bit of a warm up for Saturday. But that change isn't just that we're getting rain that we need, it's that the winds will be coming more out of the west to southwest, and that's going to be pushing some of that smoke in the atmosphere away. Keeping in mind when it's in the upper atmosphere, we still get those hazy skies, but it's at the surface level where it's really been an issue. So tonight still have some of these, kind of areas where we see it push back in, moves back into eastern Ontario a little bit. You get a breather back towards southwestern Ontario, and then you see another line coming through. But keeping in mind, this is more diffused. It's not as intense or concentrated as it was. But see, when we start to get into these lighter blues, these are colors we want to see, by the way, and that really happens and things just open up and it's all kind of pushed back because of that southwesterly flow into the second half of the weekend. So improving on that air quality even further. For tomorrow, we are looking at a lot of sunshine, a really nice day. Then as we get into the afternoon hours, eastern Ontario starts to see some isolated showers. And tomorrow evening, there is that chance into the GTA. So if you're going to be on a patio or doing something or going to be seeing Alanis Morissette at the Canadian Open, keep in mind you might get a little wet weather. But overnight Sunday and Sunday morning, a bit more organized, as you can see. And then some heavier rain is quite likely to start pushing in as we get into Sunday night and Monday. So again, a reminder, we really need this moisture that's coming our way, and it will be here after a low tonight of 12, tomorrow 25, and then we get into totally different pattern there, as you see. Taya.
Thanks, Colette. A heads up about some subway closures that may impact how you get around this weekend. The subway will not run on a portion of Line 2 between Broadview and Woodbine stations due to track work. That's on both Saturday and Sunday. Also on Line 2, service between St. George and Broadview Station won't start until noon on Sunday. Bay and Sherbourne stations will be closed completely that day. You can get a full list of closures on the TTC's website. Finally tonight, birds in a harbor aren't unexpected, but these birds had people doing a double take in Hong Kong. The artwork is called Double Ducks, and the Dutch artist who created them hope they bring the city luck. If the idea seems a little familiar, the same artist was behind Rubber Duck, which went on a world tour for several years, making stops right here in Toronto. That's our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Shannon Martin has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. Have a great weekend. Good night.